It's going. Okay, we are live. Hello, everyone. We're on my one are going on Facebook, and now I just clicked it. If you check it, Katie, you'll be able to go on Instagram.
All right, we'll go live to my crew too. Sweet.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Amazing.
So, and then we even have I created a LinkedIn event for this as well. Hopefully that worked. So, let's just dive into it. Welcome for my audience. I want you guys to meet Katie Soul, the founder of Mystical Living. How are you, Katie?
I am awesome this morning. How are you, Dr. Cody?
I'm doing very, very, very well. And I was so excited to have you on. Katie is such a bright being. I'm doing this week. We have a webinar coming up next Tuesday called Sustainable Weight Loss and Boundless Energy at Any Age. And so I wanted to bring a lot of my clients on, and instead of hearing me talk about, some of the stuff that's occurred, is I'd love to hear my clients tell people. So the title of this little live is the healthy edge. Why top entrepreneurs prioritize health and energy first. And you're just such a perfect person for this. So let's just start off by kind of saying, like, Katie, how did you find me? Because I want to talk about just the Fast 40, and then we'll dive into like what you've learned, because a lot of people don't know what the Fast 40 even is. Would you kind of start there?
Totally. Well, I found you actually, as I think all the best connections are formed through a friend of mine, Elle, who works at a company called Brand Builders. Some of you might have heard of them. They help entrepreneurs in building out their brands. And Elle was working with you, and she just started sharing a little bit about what she was up to. And similarly to me, she is in a fast-paced, high energy type of job where she's working with different clients and managing different things in her life. And I saw her eating actually during a meeting, and she was eating a lot of food. And she was talking about how she's eating all this food and she's losing weight. And some sort of light bulb pinged at me, because growing up as a woman in my 40s now, I'd taught to restrict myself to lose weight. And I think there's so many parallels between the way I was restricting myself with food and the way I was restricting myself with feeling, like really feeling energy. And it's so interwoven. So as we started this work together, I started really feeling the emotional weights I've been carrying for years through, life shit that happens. I had a marriage where I was married to somebody struggling with addiction. I was in a high-paced Fortune 100 executive role. I was here, there, and everywhere, and really present with my kids, and juggling a lot of balls, as most women are. And over all of that time, I built up energetic weight and physical weight that was ready to be released. And that's when Cody came into my life. And I love his model, because what's so interesting about it is there's a high level of accountability. We get to voice note each other back and forth. And for me, having somebody outside of myself holding my hand through this process has been the support I need. And we can cover a range of topics, from really strategic, like, here's the data, this isn't working, oh, you were doing eggs and let's swap that out. Let's try something new, to really, Cody, this emotion is coming up. I'm feeling all this rage coming through my body. How do I sit with that and process that? And because our work is aligned, I have a lot of tools in my toolkit, but sometimes we need somebody to be there for us, just holding space, holding our hand to move through these emotions.
Wow, that was all. That's really good. I could pull off of like 10 different roads with this.
Totally.
So where I want to go with that, thank you so much for that. And one of the things I want to capitalize on is let's talk about the myths for women and about food and energy. And
Yeah.
you kind of said this, like, so you got to meet Elle, and Elle's referred to me from some of the other people I worked with. Myself, I'm a high energy person. I've run multiple companies. I love working with people. I burned a lot of energy. And many years ago, I was taught in the bodybuilding world that, how to you're supposed to eat. And one of the things I find is that our society tells people that, hey, listen, you should just eat less and work out more,
Mhm.
burn more energy, right? And what we find is it doesn't work. And so the road I want to kind of go down is, we figured out with you, Katie, you're a high energy burning person. So that means physically, mentally, emotionally, even spiritually. I even found that you can burn energy spiritually, right?
Totally.
Yeah. And so here's an interesting piece of this is that caloric deficit only causes hormone imbalances.
Yeah.
Caloric deficit diet. So let's what does that even mean? Fasting, paleo,
Did it.
keto. Yeah, you're
Did
right,
it.
right? It did it. And then we go across the board for people, Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, and down to the most recent things that people are doing is these GLP-1,
Yeah.
trizepatide, Ozempic, Wegovy injections. What these things do is create caloric deficits, right? And
Yeah.
so caloric deficits trigger survival mode for people.
Yeah.
As a woman, so what does that mean? Survival mode. Survival mode means, so we have survival and thrival. Okay. Survival is you get put into the primitive centers of the brain, your animal like centers. You become more animal when you're in survival mode, which means you're literally not thinking clearly as a more evolved human. It's not wrong. It's perfect. It's part of our biology. But
Totally.
in survival mode, you're not as resourced. So in survival mode, as a woman and as a man, but I work with a lot of women, your body stores fat. And that's an important thing. Caloric deficit diets trigger fat storage. It is the opposite of what we've been told. And
Totally.
that's the smallest problem. The bigger problem is, what do your hormones do? Your hormones then think that you're in a famine, you're stressed, you're running from a tiger, and so your body really never gets the chance to go into what's called parasympathetic, to rest and digest.
Yeah.
And so there's a whole bunch in this, but I just want to say, what is that? What comes up for you in that, Katie?
Yeah, I think one thing I really want to call out is I got sucked into the whole HRT craze, the hormone replacement therapy, because, I'm on Instagram for my business and my feed is like, oh, just take some progesterone, just take some estrogen, blah, 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 blah. You're in your 40s. You need this now. And so I did. I tried some progesterone and I felt terrible doing it. I got all puffy and inflamed, and something inside me just said, stop. I get that this is a direction that we are being swayed into as women, but there's something in my consciousness that was like, I don't know. And so I went down a rabbit hole on this whole thing and really found that, it's a big pharma thing that is behind, oh, there's a pill for this, there's a pill for this. And no different than the Ozempic or the GLP-1s also didn't feel in resonance with me because, again, it's some quick fix. And I know like quick fixes don't work. And so I believe what you're sharing is there's a natural way that you can actually eat. Like that's the biggest thing I think as a woman that's exciting to me is I get to eat. And I was a collegiate D1 lightweight rower. I learned to restrict really early to do something I love, to make weight, to be in the boat, to support my team. And that pattern is something I'm just releasing now. And I've carried for decades with me of less is more. And what's so fascinating in the work we do together is the days I don't eat enough are the days I have a weight gain. And the days that I eat well, I sleep well, I get my water in, I process my emotions, the weight is able to release. And it's such a major rewiring for so many women like me because we've been conditioned down a path that is restriction, quick fixes, fad diets. And oh, wait, holy moly, we can actually nourish ourselves. We can process our emotions. We can get quality sleep. So, my message is there is another way, and it really does work.
Yeah, that's crazy talk, Katie. That's crazy talk. Right now, I love what you pinpointed, and I want to go there. The global hormone replacement therapy market is a 15 billion with a B dollar industry. It has nothing to do, listen, ladies, it has nothing to do with you being healthy. It has to do with they're expecting by 2032 that the market will be a $27 billion industry. It has nothing to do that statistically there's no women more healthy by taking these things. Matter of fact, we've seen over the years there be issues because the one of the delusions is that you take a hormone and now you're balanced. But the problem is you can't balance hormones by taking hormones. It's never worked. It's never worked for anyone, right? So some of the things that you mentioned there was in the Fast 40, we talk about how to actually let energy move through you, not ever getting to let an emotion, not feeling an emotion. Like you're very skilled in I think more than most people, but we're just so busy, staying very busy. We never stop to feel ourselves.
Yeah.
And God, stopping to feel. It's so easy to not stop and feel like, and so I literally will take moments where I'll go sit on the couch because I've learned, oh my gosh, I'll work months and not feel an emotion, and then realize it'll build up and turn into something inside my body. And so feeling it, stopping to feel emotion, stopping to feel when you're hungry, and the wiring, like you said, that you were taught in sports and athleticism of pushing past. Hunger is this beautiful mechanism that we're not supposed to push past. It's like an empty full gauge on your gas. We don't need to push past our empty gauge, but most of us haven't trusted. And so I want to say at this moment, the reason we haven't trusted the empty gauge is because sometimes over the years of stress and sugar, when your body starts burning sugar, you actually can't trust that gas gauge anymore.
Yeah.
When your body burns fat, you can trust that your wisdom, your intuition is guided. When you burn sugar literally tricks the brain into not knowing when you're full. That's why you can eat a box of donuts, but you can't eat a box of steaks. Isn't that really crazy?
Yeah.
So this is huge. Yeah, this is huge. So I love you went to the HRT route. We have women that are completely off testosterone, progesterone, estrogen. They're completely off these things because I just had a woman yesterday. She got on the call. She did GLP-1 injections for 2 years. She lost 20 pounds in 2 years, which we usually will see that in a short period of time. But all the weight came back, and she's on the phone with me now. And she said, my doctor told me that it's normal to gain 5 pounds, up to 5 pounds a year after menopause. And I thought, this is what the medical system is teaching women?
Yep. Yeah. Oh my gosh. My doctor told me the same exact thing. That it's normal.
As if you get fat because you're old. Like, what in the hell is going on? And this is the same thing they tell people. Arthritis, that comes with age. What in the hell? Why would inflammation come with age? Why would that come with age? It doesn't make any sense. So the universe, God, did not build your body at 40 to stop making its own hormones and just get sick. That's the false narrative. That's false narrative. So I was going to ask you, what changes have you seen? And I want to ask, what things have you changed also regarding, let's say, sleep, eating times, eating amounts? Like, would you kind of talk to people about that? Because so many people are used to like, when they come to me, they're like, I've got to figure out how to restrict, and this is going to be hard to starve myself, right? So what have you noticed you've had to shift and change in your life?
I would say the biggest shift and change is that it's okay to nourish myself, and it requires self-devotion.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's big.
So
You're
that
the one
is,
that brought that to me. You presence that to me, the self-devotion. I hadn't even, when you said that, it was like, that's it right there. Yeah.
yeah. And so for me, this is a priority in my life right now, is nourishing myself well. And in fairness, I haven't always been in a season where I had the luxury of prioritizing my own nourishment. And I can paint that picture of stressed out Fortune 100 exec, chronic low back pain, constantly inflamed, eating pretzels and hummus like in between meetings. It was not a great dynamic. But now I run my own business. I can prioritize because I choose to prioritize creating nourishing meals for myself. So that is the one thing I will say is it does require devotion to getting to sleep on time, drinking your water, and cooking your own meals. I rarely go out to eat, and that's fine with me.
Mhm.
And sometimes I even bring my own food if I'm going to an event or meeting a friend. And again, it's about choosing what is going to nourish me. If I know I'm going into an environment that may be difficult to find the right foods. For example, this weekend we were at a beautiful concert benefit, and they had foods that I could eat there. It was beautifully catered, so well done, but they're all bite size.
Yeah.
So there's only like so many little bite sizes that you can find to fuel yourself enough. And as Cody mentioned, I learned through this, I am a high energy burner. I actually need to eat a lot because of the physical, emotional, mental energy I expend throughout the
Yes.
day. So I
Yeah.
knew I got myself in a little bit of a pickle on Saturday, and I got myself right back on track with a good meal, full amount. But even in doing that, I had to play catch up on Sunday. So one of the things I would have liked to have done if I could rewind that Saturday is I would have brought my own food and nobody would have cared.
Right.
It's not a big deal. I was also at another family event where it was catered recently and I ate before I went. So I did a
Mhm.
really nice preparedness in that. And people question me, why aren't you eating? Is something wrong? And you really do, I'm in the business of building your self-trust muscles. So it's another way that we as women get to say, oh,
Mhm.
I ate before I came. I must have said it 10 times. So it can be a little confronting to other people when you are going in a different direction. And so
Ooh, okay.
yeah,
What a good, so
that's
good.
something you may come up against. And I would
Yeah.
say be prepared for that. But it's a great thing because it allows me to really keep coming back to this is what my body needs. This is what I need to nourish myself. And
Mm.
I can speak up.
I want to point back. I love it. You said I want to point back to the act of self-devotion because I think that's where this all really goes. And when you said that to me, I mean, I don't know how long ago it was. I really started realizing when you choose to eat on time and choose to eat enough, it's because you're choosing to love yourself.
Yeah.
And I was on a date. I don't know how many months ago or whatever. And on the date, she had mentioned to me about like, oh, have you tried this? Have you tried a spaghetti taco? And I was like, what's a spaghetti taco? Oh, it's a bunch of pasta and you put it inside a taco shell with cheese. And I wasn't being critical, but I said, honestly, I would never. She was asking if I would. She's like, oh, your daughter would love it. And I said, I would never give that to my daughter. And she was
Yeah.
like, geez, that's critical. I'm like, no, it's not critical. I said, I wouldn't give it to my daughter because I love her.
Totally.
And she didn't, she just was like, what what do you mean? What do you mean? Right. And it's because the fundamental understanding of what pasta and taco shells really are, and she's the sugar. And I want my daughter to have, I know she's going to be a high energy burning woman. I want her at a young age. I don't want her to flip her switch over to sugar like mine was.
No.
So this act of self-devotion to eat before you go and to love yourself so much that you don't care what other people think about what you're doing,
Mhm.
that's the thing right there. Um,
Totally.
yeah, there's a book called The Five Regrets. Oh, go ahead, tell me, Katie.
Oh, I was
You
just
guys-
going to say one thing to point out too is there is a ripple impact. And for those of us that do have children in our households, I have tweens, teens, and they're watching me. They're paying attention. They're at critical ages
Hmm,
where nourishing their body is important for their growth, their development, their brain development.
hmm,
And I want them to see a mom who's eating, not a
hmm.
mom who's
Ooh, that's big.
restricting, because
Yeah.
those are patterns that I am passing down to them. So that's
Ooh,
another
that's
thing I'd say. Even if it's hard to do it for yourself, think about your whole household and the
right.
ripple impact that you're creating by nourishing
Ooh,
yourself. But you were
that,
talking about the five
that's good.
things.
So
I love.
that's really big because then you're linking that, like, sometimes doing these things for your kids might be your higher value than doing it for yourself, right? So
Sometimes, yeah,
yeah, sometimes. So that's important. So yeah, this like that. So I really look at that as like, how much do I love myself? Because so much of us, especially, put other people first, and that was innate in me. And where I was going with that was that book, The Five Regrets. One of the number one
such a good
regrets. Yeah, it is so good. But the number one regret that people came to the end of their lives, and one of the number one things they said is, I wish I would have lived a life that I wanted, not the life that others wanted for me.
book.
And I think about that. I think about,
Me
like,
too.
giving a shit about what someone else thinks because you ate something or you ate at a different time or you didn't drink with them. And when I
Totally.
think about that thing, I think at the end of my life, I'm gonna go back and go, hell yeah. Like, I absolutely chose to make my own decisions, not because someone else was doing it, but because it was what I wanted to do. And honestly, this is a part of leadership. Like, stepping forward and doing the
Totally.
things that make someone uncomfortable. And one of the reasons it makes people uncomfortable is because they start going, well, geez, that's the decision that I wanted to make. I wanted to not drink tonight. I wanted to not eat pasta tonight, but I'm doing it because everyone else is doing it. It's stepping forward and leading with love for yourself.
Totally. And I know sharing this video on my feed will be confronting for
Yeah.
some people in my audience who are choosing a different pathway. And I'm okay with that. I'm
Yeah.
okay if they want to say, "Ooh, goodbye, see you later." Maybe they boomerang back in some time. But I have to be honest. This is who I am. This is my truth. And I believe that a new narrative needs
Hmm.
to be created for women, that you can
Ooh.
eat and nourish yourself and have this abundant experience. And I think there's parallels to everything else in our life. I think it opens up doorways to more abundance in money, more abundance in intimacy. It just has
Ooh.
this major ripple when we, to one thing, say, ooh, no, I'm not going down the scarcity path. I am choosing the nourishment path.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And just really to amplify this, like, the I made the title of this, The Health Edge, like, why top entrepreneurs prioritize energy and health. And this is
Yeah.
why. Without health, I mean, what it would be like to what if you created, I'm just saying, what if we create a $1 billion business that serves others, but you're just destroyed in the end. You don't have the energy yourself. Like, you feel terrible.
Yeah.
It's like, is it worth it? Right. And so I think when we look at wealth and what is the full picture of wealth, I've experienced freedom of time, money in the bank, and having no health. And I can tell you, I didn't care about any of the money or the things I had. And so this is what made me go, oh my gosh, like, I want to figure out how do we get more well-rounded. And I think nothing comes before this health piece. And to me, even God. And I say that
Yeah.
clearly because I think God or universe wants us to be healthy so we can deliver whatever our skill sets and our priorities are to the world.
Totally.
Otherwise, how are you going to do that? Right. So anyway, you go ahead.
And sometimes we don't even realize how unhealthy we were until looking backwards on it. I can see more objectively now that I had chronic low back pain. I had mold. I had mark-ons. I had all these weird things, health things going on all the time when I was working in corporate America. And I now see this in clients too. And it really breaks my heart because it is all interconnected. And I was storing so many emotions. I wasn't feeling my truth in that season. I was doing the thing, the climbing the ladder, the doing what I thought I was supposed to do. And it's taken, I call it my corporate detox. You know, it's taken a detox from that lifestyle to help me to see, oh my gosh, like, one, thank you to myself for trusting myself enough to choose that there was another way.
Yeah.
And how can we share this with more women? That there's another pathway, and men too.
Oh yeah, and just to piggyback on that, I love that the exact same thing for me, Katie. I had black mold, parasites. I was getting so sick, and I was growing my businesses and helping people and do these things, and I was getting more and more sick to the point where there was a point where I was sleeping 10 hours at night and 10 hours during the day, and I couldn't function. And it was like I finally was like, what is going on? I was storing so much emotion. I wasn't processing things. I was not honoring myself. And so that self-love is maybe what we really are here to do is, hey, can we help others not have to hit rock bottom, at least like I had to go through, to then find this thing where I'm like honoring myself and not caring what other people think about me and loving myself so much that I don't care what you think about me. Right? And maybe that inspires people, you know, right? Exactly. So thank you, Katie, for I love working with you. And it's like, it inspires me. I get to like, I just knowing that the problems and things I've gone through gets to just help other people is like, that is so freaking fulfilling. So fulfilling. So yeah, thank you so much. Okay. We'll close this out. I know we went a little over. Katie, awesome. I encourage so many, women just to reach out, to check Katie out, because she is truly an inspiration. And if you guys are listening to this and you're like, you know what, I want to figure out what this whole hormone reset thing is, reach out to me in Fast 40. Join us in our webinar next Tuesday. And Katie, what I'll do is I'll close this out, and it should close out on your end too automatically. Okay.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Cody. It was a pleasure.